So I've finally been to a Tesla showroom to see the brand new Model 3. If you're new to my channel, by the way, I make videos every single week about electric cars and sustainable future. If you're interested in that sort of thing, go and click the subscribe button. If you're already a subscriber, click the little notification bell. It lets you know every time I upload a new video. So let's get straight into it. Initial thoughts. What do I think of this new car? First of all, I was more taken aback by it than I thought. Now, the external lines of the car are very nice. The bonnet is a little bit more stubby than I imagined it to be. Looking at the pictures, it's a little bit more of a stubby nose, but still great lines. There's lines that run through the lights into the curvature of the body, which I thought was quite a nice design. The boot's very large and spacious. Boot has a little porthole that has a glass, which uses the hatchback sort of glass, saloon glass, to project natural light into the boot, so there's no need for an extra light in there during the day, and basically saves a bit. It's just basically well thought out all the way through, inside and out. Now, the biggest surprise for me was taking the wife. Now, the wife has been against driving something bigger than the Zoe for ages. She started off with when I first started to teach her how to drive, in a little Lupo, and now I've moved her over to a larger car, which the Zoe. Now I want to move her over to a Tesla Model 3 eventually, or have a Tesla Model 3 for me and then keep the Zoe for her, but obviously I want her to drive it. That's the, I want it to be a family car. I want to start a family in a couple of years, and that is an ideal family car for a pram and a British family. The Model S is out of my price range and a bit too big, and the Model X again is sort of out of my price range and way too big for what I need, especially on UK and European roads. The Tesla Model 3 just meets that sweet spot. Now, I had to get the wife to sit in it and see if she liked it. The issue here is she loves it, absolutely loves it. So now I've taught myself having me having it and her using it to her having it and me using it, which is a bit of a downfall. She was blown away by it, but we were both blown away. Even I, seeing pictures of Tesla, didn't think I'd love it as much in the person. When you sat in that driving seat and you had that clean dash, no buttons everywhere, just that single screen, 2 buttons on the steering wheel that do the mirrors, it does the up and down, forward, backwards of the steering wheel. Basically, those 2 buttons with the screen control everything. So instead of having buttons there that you only use once or twice, you set the car up, you set your mirrors up, you set your seat up, the car then remembers that driving setting, and you never have to see those buttons again. And that's the problem with a normal ICE car, or normal cars in general, any car in fact at the moment on the market, is that button for the electric mirrors is there, and the button for the steering wheel is always there. There's always 2 lots of extra buttons and buttons that you'll never use again. The Tesla just remembers it. That's the difference when a software company designs a car. They think about things logically. Do you need that electric mirror button there 24/7? No, you don't. Does a button need to be there for moving the steering wheel all the time? No. Can you incorporate those 2 buttons into one button using a bit of software? Yes. And that is the amazing part about Tesla. Now, there's lots of things that the Model 3 has done to bring down cost of the car, and they're very genius ways of doing it and very simple ways of doing it. Just a quick note, don't forget to click subscribe. Also, if you do want 6 months free supercharging on your Model 3 or any Tesla, then there's a referral code down in the description down below with one of my subscribers. If you use that referral code, you'll get 6 months free supercharging from when this video was released. And if you're a Model 3 current reservation holder in Europe or anywhere else, you can email Tesla Reservations with the end of that referral code, the name, and then that will give you 6 months referral credit, 6 months credit-free supercharging on the supercharging network. Now, obviously, the first way they've done that is less buttons being manufactured, less buttons being put in the car with a bit of software, which saves massively on cost. Even if you think that those buttons, extra buttons, would cost 20p over all the buttons on the car, they've saved 20p per car. If they're doing 7,000 cars per week, if my maths right, that's £1,400 a week saving just on not putting extra buttons on the car. Now, if you multiply that by several weeks of the year, which we'll do now, if we divide times that by 52 weeks of the year, that's £72,800. So almost £100,000 saving by not adding a load of extra buttons to a car. Ingenious way of doing it. Well done, Tesla. The other thing that they've done is, which I didn't realise until being in the car and being told by the product expert in the car, the fan system at the front is not dual climate control. So normal cars, you have dual climate control. Left passenger, right passenger can both have their own temperature. Great. They obviously don't do it in cheaper cars, but more expensive cars tend to have dual climate control. You don't get dual climate control in the Tesla, and it's a one single air vent rather than little air vents. It's just basically a big line in the centre of the dash. I'll try and highlight it on the photos that I've took. And you can't have the driver on and the passenger off. It's either on or off from the way he explained to me, if he understood me properly. But that's a very ingenious way of cutting down costs again. Now, some other questions I asked: when is it going to be in the UK? No definitive answer, but they're hoping sort of mid-year. Next one, finance packages. They don't have any sort of information on that yet. And last but not least, you know, how much is it going to cost? And again, no prices on that. They're expecting to release prices in April or May. Now, I'm going to guess they're waiting for Brexit to go through or not go through, or see what happens with Brexit. Why, you ask? I'm not being everyone knows that I'm pro-European and I want to stay in the single market, but I'm not talking about that. The reason why Tesla want to wait will be because they want to see what effect it has on the pound, and that's when they're going to set the price. Because obviously, if the pound massively drops, they'll have to increase the prices massively, so they're going to wait for that. Or if the pound suddenly starts doing really well, they might even decrease it, or keep it exactly the same as what they're thinking anyway and just make more profit. So it's more sense for them to wait till April, May and then release it when they know where the pound is and where it's stabilised, without making loads of price changes in the first run-up of the months of when releasing the car. My bet is that they're going to release only the large battery and performance model and all-wheel drive specs, and I'm going to presume the cheapest they'll let you order is probably about 55 grand if you want quick delivery. That makes more sense in my mind that they're not going to release that. Obviously, the £35,000 model is not even available in the US yet, so it certainly won't be available in the UK for at least probably another 12 months even after the US, maybe even longer. It makes little sense to Tesla to sell a car that they make very little profit on when they can sell big margin cars at 55, 60 grand. Now, personally, to me, the Model 3 Performance is a very cheap car when you consider what it competes with. So to me, that's the car that I personally would want to go, and hopefully I might be able to get some sort of stuff sorted with finance and other options of money, and hopefully buy a Model 3. Like I said, I do need a family car ready for when we're ready for starting a family, and I'd rather buy that now I know where I financially am than when I've had a child and then I'm trying to squeeze every little last penny of what I need to earn. Thanks very much for watching this week's video. Don't forget to click subscribe, don't forget to consider becoming a patron, and check out my other videos as well. Thanks very much, and I'll see you again next week. Goodbye.